Today I'll be showing you how to make a super cute, super easy heart plushie. This project is perfect for beginners, and let's get into it. So what you'll need is a 5mm crochet hook. This is because we're using a very thick blanket-like yarn for today. I do recommend using a thicker blanket-like yarn or any type of really big yarn, as I find that this hook size in particular is easier to learn with, but it's totally up to you. If you want to use a smaller hook size, then you just need to grab a smaller yarn and then make sure that you are using a hook size that's smaller than the recommended size on the label of that yarn. You will need a stitch marker. You could also use a bobby pin, a yarn needle to sew in our ends, a pair of scissors. These are just kitchen scissors, but any scissors will do. You will also need some stuffing. Today I'm using polyfill stuffing, and like I said, I am using this very thick blanket-like polyester yarn. Polyester is a great yarn to use when making or starting out with plushies. Just make sure you grab like a polyester that's like this, very blanket-like and thick. So I have already made 1/2 of the heart here. This is what it looks like. We're going to be making a total of 2. So this is one, we'll make another one right away here. I just wanted to show you what this looks like. For now, we're just going to pop this to the side and I'll show you how to do it. We're going to grab the tail end of our yarn here, just drape it over your fingers like so, and then make a gun with your fingers. With these 2 fingers, we're going to wrap the end tail piece of the yarn around them to form an X. I find it easier to pinch the very top that's closest to my thumb with my thumb here, and then tuck in this tail end between the middle finger and the ring finger. This creates the tension that we need to make it easier when we're doing our magic ring. So we're going to grab our hook and make sure the hook is facing towards the X here. You want to go under that very first thread and then over the second one. With your hook, you want to guide that second thread under and twist it up. Then go back to this thread that's on your thumb, go under that, and guide that thread through the loop on your hook. If you need to loosen it a little bit, you can do that. Just do whatever is most comfortable for you. So we're going to do 6 single crochets into this ring. How we do this is going to be a little bit different from your standard single crochet, so I'll show you how to do the preferred method. So we go into the ring and then we're going to yarn under. Typically we yarn over, but we're going to yarn under. So make sure that our hook is laid directly on top of that thread here. And then we're going to guide that thread through the ring. You'll have 2 loops on your hook. At this point you can yarn over and then pull through 2. So that's 1. We're going to do a total of 6. So we go into the ring, yarn under, pull that thread through the ring, 2 loops on the hook, yarn over, pull through 2. Again, we enter that ring and we yarn under, pull up a loop, and 2 loops should be on the hook, yarn over, pull through 2. Okay, I'm going to do 3 more here. Perfect. Now we should have 6 single crochets into that ring. We're going to grab that tail end of our magic ring and just pull it tight. Now we're going to go into that very first stitch there. You can see where the stitch is. It kind of looks like a V right here. So we're going to go into that stitch and we're going to do a slip stitch. So all you have to do is go into the stitch, take the thread, this touch the yarn, pull that through the stitch, and then pull that through the loop on your hook. We're going to chain 1. So we end every round with a slip stitch, and we're going to begin the round with a chain 1. This is specifically just for these halves here. It'll change in the future, but just keep that in mind. So we're going to go into the very first stitch here and do 1 single crochet. Grab your stitch marker and mark this very first stitch. This round is going to be a little bit different than the previous round. We're going to do an increase into every stitch. That just means we're going to do 2 stitches into every stitch. So we're going to end this round with a total of 12. We just did 1, we're going to go back into that stitch and do 1 more. Okay, so we just finished this round here. You can count as you go, or you can count before you do your slip stitches. I just have counted as I go, and I have 12 stitches here. So we're going to take out that stitch marker and do our slip stitch. Again, go into that very first stitch, yarn over, pull through that loop, and then the loop on your hook. Chain 1, go into that very first stitch and do 1 single crochet. Mark it with your stitch marker. And now we're going to do the third and final round for this half. All we have to do is just do 1 single crochet into every stitch. We ended the last round with 12, so we should also end this round with 12. Finish this round here. Again, you can count as you go, or you can count before you do your slip stitch. I have 12 stitches here, so we're just going to remove the stitch marker, do our slip stitch, Okay. I just want to add that for this previous half that we did, I did tie a knot in it, and then I tied it really tight when I finished the last round on this, and then I cut off the thread. This half, it will stay connected to the yarn. So just grab the other half here, and then you can enter any stitch that you like. And then to join, we're just going to do a single crochet, just like we've been doing before. So we yarn under and pull through that stitch. We should have 2 loops on the hook, and then we yarn over and pull through 2. You can see now that it's joined. Grab your stitch marker and mark that very first stitch. So now we're going to do 2 rounds of single crochets and do both halves. So we'll do single crochets all the way around, come up all the way around on this half, hit the stitch marker, and then do another round of single crochets. And I'll come back once we have hit the 2 rounds of single crochets into the plushie. Just want to make a note here, so you can see that there's some ends kind of dangling off to the side. You can cut them, just make sure that you leave enough length to sew in later, or you can sew in as you go, or like me, you can sew them in after once you're done. So I just kind of move them out of the way until I've finished the piece in its entirety. Okay, so you can start to see some shape here. We've just finished our 2 rounds of single crochets all the way around. We're going to remove that stitch marker. Now for this round, and every round after this, we're going to be working in our decreases. So we're going to start the very first round with 4 single crochets and then 1 decrease. So I'll show you how to do that now. Just like before, into that very first stitch with 1 single crochet, mark that stitch, okay, and then we're going to do 3 more single crochets. 2, 3, 4. That's our 4th single crochet. We're going to do our decrease now. How we do this is we're going to go into the front loop of the first stitch and then the next stitch right next to it. So the front loop is the one that's closest to you. So as you can see here, I'll just bring it forward here. It's that very front loop that you can see. Put my hook into it to show you. Now we'll just bring it down a little bit. It might help if you just kind of hook it on. And then you want to go into that front loop of the next stitch. You'll have 3 loops on your hook. I like to yarn over the first 2. Oh, sorry, yarn under the first 2. 2 loops should be on the hook, then I yarn over the last 2. So I'll show you again. We'll do 4 single crochets here. 1, 2, 3, 4. We'll go into that very front loop of the next stitch. Bring our hook down a bit just to make it easier, and then go into the front loop of the next stitch. 3 loops should be on the hook. Yarn under, pull through the first 2. 2 loops should be left on the hook. Yarn over and pull through those 2. So I'm just going to continue all the way around until I reach my stitch marker, and then we'll do the next round. Okay, so I am gonna go into my very first stitch of the next round here. So we'll do again 1 single crochet and then mark that with your stitch marker. Now for this round we're going to do 3 single crochets and then 1 decrease. And then for the next round is 2 single crochets and 1 decrease, and then it will be 1 single crochet, 1 decrease, and then just decreases. That's if you just want to pause and go ahead in your own time here. Otherwise, if like me and you just kind of want to work with me as I go, then just follow along with me here. So we did our 1 single crochet. We're going to do 2 more for a total of 3. I'm working on my 3 single crochets and then 1 decrease round. Okay, so we just finished that round here. That was the 3 single crochets and then 1 decreasing round. At this point, you want to grab some stuffing, or if you're using polyfill like me, just grab your polyfill. You want to grab little bits of clumps here and gently stuff it. So we're just going to do a little bit right now. And as we continue from this point, we'll just keep stuffing as we go. You don't want to overstuff all in one go. You just want to make sure you're doing it as you go, just so it doesn't peek through your plushie. So for this round, we'll just go 2 single crochets and 1 decrease. So we just did 1 single crochet here. We'll do 1 more and then our decrease. Okay, so for this round, we just did our 1 single crochet. We're going to do 1 single crochet and 1 decrease all the way around for this round here. Okay, so we just finished that round of 1 single crochet and 1 decrease. As you can see here, our hole is getting a bit tight, so I'm actually just going to remove my hook. And instead of doing a decrease into every stitch, I'm going to do something a little bit different. At this point, you could do a decrease into every stitch here, and then you could chain 1 and tighten a knot into that chain 1. That'll give you a very pointed edge there. But I want to show you guys how for a neater finish on what to do. So we're going to cut off our thread. I want to leave about 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, about 5 inches of thread on the tail. Grab your yarn needle. Okay, so for a more neater finish here, we're going to go into the front loop of all of the stitches that are left in this little hole here. So make sure you go into the front loop. Whoops. Again, front loop. And the next one. You can see that hole is a bit closing up at this point. There should be one more left here. Tighten it with your yarn needle. Go into the very center, and then I just come out on the side. So I poke my needle through that hole, and then I just come out on the side there. Make sure no yarn is going to get tangled in. Pull it taut like so. Grab your scissors and then just snip off right at the very base of that thread. You can see a heart. It looks super cute. These ends here, we're just gonna sew them in, so I'll just show you how I do that. So for the halves here, you could go just under these stitches. You'll see kind of like a little circle, your magic circle or ring where you started. You can just go under these stitches here. Kind of follow that pattern there. And then just go in the very center of that ring and come out on the stitch right next to that center. Snip off at the base. And then you just want to do the same for the other side here. hopefully one more thread left here, that joining thread we used to join the halves. You can see that there's like, if like me, I always seem to leave a little bit of a gap between the half, like kind of indent here. So I'm just going to sew right into there with my yarn needle. So I'll go into that gap there and then come out to the stitch right next to it. I'm gonna go back into that stitch that I just came out of and then go through that gap there onto the other side. If for extra security, you could go back in again. And then snip off at the base. And you're all done. Okay, so I just grabbed my tape measure to measure the height and width of this plushie. So this is about 4 inches tall and 5 inches wide. Again, if you want to make a smaller heart plushie, say for a keychain. Oh, here's a perfect example of a smaller heart plushie. This one I used with a 3.25mm crochet hook. I'll just quickly measure it for you. I'm pretty sure it's just, oh, it's actually, ooh. So this one is about 2 inches tall and 3 inches wide. That is with a medium acrylic yarn and a 3.25mm hook. I've also made, this one's not very good, but for an example purposes, this was a 3.75mm hook and with the same medium yarn. So again, this one is about two inches tall. Sorry, yeah, 2 inches tall and 3.5 inches wide. So again, it just depends on the yarn you use, the hook size. It also depends on varying factors such as tension and things like that. So just keep that in mind as you're making your plushie. But these are super cute. I also want to keep in mind, guys, that your first one might be awful. My first one was really bad, but you just keep at it. You keep practicing, it gets better and better, and before you know it, you just have a ton of these heart plushies lying around like me. Other than that, I just want to thank you guys for watching this video. It means a lot to me. If you liked it, please give it a like. If you want to subscribe, feel free to do that. Yeah, thank you so much, guys, and have a great day.